Well, I just happen to have the packet, and I filled out the packet, and I showed this person, here's the taxes that was there before, and here's the taxes that are there now. And I think it's a question of information that we have. I think it's communication and information that we need to, if we're gonna defend you, that we need to have good communications, and we need to have information. But
And Wayne, our meetings are available to the public. We're happy to meet with you anytime. You know, you're right. I mean, we have to do it better. You know, we've done it in the past. Sometimes, you know, we had a meeting earlier in the year, we had our annual follow-up. You know, we're available. Let's get together.
I understand that, Paul, but at one time, we used to get hard copies of minutes, and now we get the minutes are available. I think we need to go back to hard copies now.
Or
No,
emails.
Is that an internal issue?
No, Tammy requested that I send them via email instead of having them copy them that many times, so it saves
Save paper.
paper.
Well, we need to get those, and we'll
I
work
send
that
them
out.
monthly to Tammy, and she distributes them via email.
Okay.
Hey Wayne, can I add something?
Sure.
As a board member, I've been on probably the longest. And when I was invited on to be on the board and then approved by you folks, I remember vividly, whoever asked me to be on, that you were looking for private industry people to be on, because that's the logic and thinking you wanted to move this county forward. Every single member that's been put on by you folks since then, that's exactly what you've asked for. Look at the cross-section of this board, and I think to Paul's point, we tend to act like private business people on that board. And sometimes that runs into conflict with the way you folks act. So we hear you loud and clear, we will operate like that, but the reason we're so fast and our velocity is fast with these deals is because of the training we've all had in the private sector. Now, perhaps that doesn't sit well, but your constituents are talking, you can't compare. And it's a critique, not a criticism. You can't compare a county employee to a private industry. There's different criteria for each, and one is perhaps speedier than the next. But every single one of us on the board appointed by you folks has been invited there because of our private industry background. And if you want to go back to the other
I
one.
don't think there's any
No, I'm not
suggestion
just
at all.
saying, but I think you created us.
Right.
And you encourage us to act the way we act. And now all of a sudden you're saying, whoa, 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 slow down. But what we will do is work with you so that we blend, the best of both worlds, a public and a private world, to get something that's good for the county.
Sly, did you want to say something?
Yes, I would. I can't sit here too long without speaking about something. So let's talk about Sandy and so on. The important thing is we put out a thing called Pilot Summary. You all have copies of it. I have about 10 of them here. If everyone would like one, I can get you a copy. But the important thing is that just from Green Business, Do Common, Kalkberg, and Holt Business Park, that's the one in Athens. Those were $316,168. That's the land and the taxes that would come out of that. That particular figure comes out to $6,408,367, right down to the dollar. So that's a 95, and I define any of you, to come up with a 95% return on your investment. That's what he's done. Just think about that. 95% of every damn dollar he spent. We've got it back. And that's for you people. It happens to be, and I won't go down all the things, but I have to tell you, for example, Cooksaki Athens got well over $3 million. Catskill got over 16 million. Athens, 2,500,000. County of Greene, I happen to be fooling around with this myself today. And my word, The County of Greene, $4,300,000 this last year. Now, what do you want us to do? Just exactly what you Quigley said. We'll go after performance. Now, you don't like it? Well, we'll change it. But I have to tell you one thing. He'll get another job. But we're not going to get another 95%er, I'll tell you that.
Let me, let me talk about taxes. That's kind of a thing I know a little bit about because I do a lot of certiorari work. And, okay, basically your tax bill is whatever they need to raise divided by the assessed value. That's how it goes. They need to raise more, the tax rate goes up. And again, it's a formula. If the assessed value goes down, the rate goes up. Just that simple. So the problem we have, I live in the town of Gilbert. They did a full value reassessment. Normally, they go from 50% reassessment, value to 100%. You would figure your tax rate would go in half. Now, you go to 100% assessment, keep the rate the same. That happened twice in the town of Gilbert. So, and you guys face this all the time. Levy side is completely out of control. But if we didn't do what we did in terms of the taxes generated, the rates would be higher. We would have more inability for people to stay in their homes. Again, it's kind of, it's out there. It's a real number, but if it's kind of hard for people to feel. But I'm telling you, if that number wasn't there, they'd be paying more. That's how it goes. That's one issue. Pilots, what happens? Pilot payments reduce the amount of the levy, dollar for dollar. They have to know a little bit about these things. So whatever we generate in pilot payments is less they have to rate in the levy. That's how it goes. That's why it's important. No pilot payments, more levy, more taxes. That's pretty simple. Again, that's how it goes. So the school, the town, the county all got together, approved resolutions saying this is a good thing because we were getting nominal money on that land, and now we're getting a lot of money. And the issue of where did the bonus criteria come from? They came right from the controller's opinion. We established them ahead of time as a group. That's how it was done. You could maybe improve it. We're going to work to improve it with you. Wayne, I'm sorry.
I want to add one more thing to that, if I might. The issue we hear a lot of times is say, well, if you're doing these great things, why is my tax rate going down?
Yes.
I'm going to give you a very, very specific example. In Catskill, our deal with Athens Gen is going to put $63 million into that school district over the course of the pilot. We have already put $16 million into their coffers. We don't spend the money. We generate it. Somebody else spends it. The question is, why have Catskill people not seen a reduction in their rate? Thanks to Cy. Cy taught me this. If they put that money into their budget, it reduces their state aid.
That's right.
And so New York State is a beneficiary of what we do. So instead of putting that pilot money into their state aid, or into their budget as state aid, they put it into a capital budget. So it's all funneled into a capital budget, not in the daily and the capital budget has nothing to do with your annual tax levy, or it doesn't have a direct relationship with the tax levy. So none of that's getting funneled in to the point where it lowers the school tax rate. Instead, it goes in and is funding a huge pot of money for capital improvements. And if you drive over to the school right now, you'll see the beneficiary. You'll see that. You'll see the visible signs of that. Now, does it affect the taxpayers in the long run? Absolutely. Because if they don't have to go back to the well for capital improvements, they're better off. But the reality is, there's going to be $63 million coming into Catskill School District as a result of the IDA. $63 million.
What was the IDA fee for that deal?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Big number.
$2.5 million.
How you doing?
Just to get back to the purpose of the meeting, which, I know we've gone through a lot of economic and financial discussions here, but the real purpose of the meeting was the executive director's pay and the bonus. And I think, I don't think anyone disputes the great work that the IDA board has done. I think Sandy Matt